Artillery coming in!
This is an urgent request for a thunderbolt airstrike.
Okay, here we go.
On a smoke grenade!
Cheers, soldier!
Welcome to Rotterdam. Last week, EA flew me out to Germany for Gamescom, where I was actually able to spend some time playing on this new map with some of the new features that you can expect for yourself coming with the upcoming beta. Even with what we saw here, though, a lot of times things will change before they make it to the final build and even to the beta from what we were playing here. We were able to play and capture on this map, which is the second that we have seen from Battlefield 5, which we got to play the first during the alpha a few weeks back, checking out the grand operations, which if you want to see more of, you can see in a card in the top right corner, or linked in the description. Besides the new map, though, the beta also came with some more features that are more fully fledged out, as well as a little bit of tweaks to what we had seen in the past. Although they're not done with the game, it looks like they took some of the feedback from the alpha and have continued to develop on it, which they will definitely be doing after the beta feedback coming for the full game. Of course, it also felt great playing on a new map finally as well. Since we only got to see one during the alpha, wanted to see what else they could do. And on Rotterdam, we played Conquest, which felt very similar to the Conquest of the alpha map. It actually felt a little bit smaller as well, which maybe was because of all the buildings and everything that was there. But it was a 5-point capture game. It had tanks, light vehicles on there that had a variety of building warfare where you're going inside, up to second floors inside of the buildings, as well as longer alleyways available where you could snipe from. In particular, this bridge was one of my favorite spots to continually go to as people were trying to cross the street at the end, or even jumping across the river, which was located in the middle. With the bridge and the river, there was still plenty of opportunities to get different flanking routes. It didn't really feel like a super laned system, although because it wasn't as big, there's not quite that many different options. Conquest definitely still felt familiar, though, being able to choose different flanking routes, getting behind enemies, and pushing the flags that players might not be on. In this video, I have highlights from all over the map, so you can pay attention to different flags that we're on, objectives, where some of the healing and ammo stations are, as well as just the incredible design. In terms of the actual features in the game, you saw me there trying to shoot somebody that was down. You still can't finish off somebody that's down, so they have the potential for being revived in certain cases that you can't stop. But it can be beneficial because people will go for revives and you can kind of use them as bait, as there's no way for enemies to pick themselves up. One of the bigger actual changes they made from the alpha to this one, though, in terms of gameplay mechanics, was you can actually carry a med pack with you, regardless if you're a medic or not. You get one that you can use to self-heal, which I found to be a great benefit. You also didn't spawn with this med pack, so if you wanted to get it, you had to stop at a healing station prior to going into your combat, or if you retreat back to get a heal, you can pick up an extra med kit with you on the way, which will just heal yourself when you need to in a pinch. Whenever you get into fights in Battlefield, it's very typical that you'll take a little bit of damage as well. When that happens, if you can't regen your health all of the way, which you can't do in this game anymore, then it leaves you at a disadvantage going into your next fight, where you're likely going to die. So it becomes very ideal to go find a medic or a health pack to heal up, and it slowed down the pace of the game a lot because you didn't want to just continually push into new fights because you'd be hurt, which makes you easier to get one shot from a sniper or just get killed from somebody who can turn around and tap you with a couple shots rather than having to go through all of your health pool. But because we had our own health pack, after you got into a fight or two, you can continue to push and do things by just taking the self-med. But it was still limited because you could only have one. You'd have to return, especially as well to get some ammo if you wanted to continue on fighting. We also got to see more guns for each of the classes, about 3 to 4 per class now. Medics are carrying the close-range SMGs, Assault are carrying your bigger assault rifles, Support is carrying the light machine gun, and of course, my personal favorite, the sniping class with a few self-loading rifles besides just the bolt actions. In particular, this ZH rifle actually killed players in 2 shots from seemingly any range, at least close enough on this map since most of the areas were slightly closer quarters. But typically in shooters, you would see bolt actions killing players in 2 shots. Of course, assuming no headshot. This shoots way faster and you don't need to rechamber a new round every time. So give it a try out. My guess is it's going to be balanced even before the beta comes out, but hey, maybe not. And it was easily a favorite between everybody that was playing at the beta event. In addition to the new guns we got to see, we also got to see customization on all of the different guns, which I think is something a lot of people, including myself, were interested to see after playing Battlefield 1 and its relative lack of customization compared to its predecessor, Battlefield 4, even Hardline, and some of the other games. Obviously, a lot of that was due to it being World War I era and just not being a lot of customization there in the first place. But there's definitely way more customization in this one, although at this time it was only purely cosmetic. You could change the optics on the guns from like a red dot to a more 4x-esque ACOG, as well as to a more longer range, fully long-range scope for the snipers. Certain guns just limiting you to AA sights, like some of the LMGs, which you've seen me using. But even that was actually a very nice optic to look through that was really easy. Each different section of the gun you could replace and change with different customizations for the design, though. And my guess is that when this fully develops, it's going to have more of an impact like the optics do, where maybe the muzzle and the stock will change recoil or things like that. I'm not sure if that's the intention of where they're going to be going with it, but there definitely was a lot of cosmetic focus on it as well, where you could change like grasping on your gun or really minute details or color variants, as well as the shine on the gun. And for each of the different pieces, because it's so segmented, you can combine different colors from different camo sets, basically, to make kind of a jumbled up gun or whatever you want with it. You can get really custom. The other big change that I had noticed was more in particular to the support class, which gives out the ammo, as well as, of course, has those big light machine guns. And you actually saw me using one of them in this gameplay with the AA sight on it, where you could properly aim down sight. During the alpha, the gun that you would use was typically just designed to go prone, where then you could bipod up, aim down sight, and get some proper shots. Well, it's still meant to be more stationed up with a lot of the LMGs. The ones that we saw didn't really have a large ammo capacity and really just felt like heavier duty assault rifles. And to me, felt a lot better than what I was trying to use in the alpha. The other really big aspect to Battlefield 5 and what they're trying to do with this is being able to build your own reinforcements, because there is typically a lot of destructible environment in Battlefield. The wall will just go out and alleyways completely open. It can leave it barren and easy to die from and make it more difficult to defend. But in this, by pushing the T key on keyboard, it pulls out your little hammer tool. I believe it's one of the D-pad buttons on console. And you'll see areas glowing in white that you can then run up to and reinforce or build upon over a few seconds. If you're support, you'll actually build faster than the other classes as well. And it felt quite significant on a map like this, actually, because of the different alleyways and corridors. Trying to defend an objective where there's an alleyway between two giant buildings, and you can build on that and actually make it more difficult for them to push through it, slowing down their assault or even forcing them to kind of push to one side or forcing them to use some dynamite to blow it up and then make their way through, made it a lot more dynamic when trying to get into battles. In addition, rather than being in the complete open at the bottom of A underneath the railway, you can actually build some defensive parameters so you can stay on the objective and defend it rather than being in the complete open. It also takes a few seconds to build, and I had a couple shots on people that were just spending their time building that were basically free kills, as well as I got shot a few times trying to build when it really wasn't the time to be doing so. In that regard, it did feel very similar to the alpha. However, because, like I said, the map is just so much more enclosed and there was less total pass that you can do versus an open snowy field, it felt like, at least from initial impressions, that it would be more effective here. I didn't spend too much time running as support and getting the benefit of the faster building from that, nor building up even more since most of the teammates got it during the initial flag caps. But I'm interested to see if they continue to change it or add more locations for it, since it is kind of predetermined places. And with some of the larger maps that I'm hoping we will see next, it may have a completely different impact if it's something giant that you end up building. This map was a little bit closer quarters, and it was a fun play. It was a much quicker pacing. Like I said, we only got to see it on Conquest. I think the next thing that I would love to see is the large-scale maps. Battlefield is really known for getting the air vehicles, ground, all the classes, and everything getting into battle. We got to see that a little bit during the alpha, but I'm excited to see what else is coming. And even after putting all the time that I have on this, I'm still wanting to play all the other weapons, classes, and put more time on this, especially playing this map in other modes, like playing the Grand Operations, which we got to see in the alpha. My guess is we'll probably traverse across this area even farther, going through the city. But it was a blast to play, and I really just want to keep playing more of it. I only got a few hours to really capture and get gameplay when I was there, so I am really looking forward to the beta and being able to play it on my own home setup here. If you guys want to see some more live streams and content from myself on it, let me know. I will be playing and capturing once it's out. After getting a few days in it, hopefully we can give some more feedback to Battlefield and continue to help them develop this prior to the launch. If you guys are going to be playing it, let me know in the comments what you're excited for, what maybe not so much. Does the beta look cool, the map? What do you think about it? Give it a like if you enjoyed. Of course, subscribe to catch all my latest content. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's coming. Battlefield 5. See you soon. This is StoneMountain 64. Over and out.